Oh, Saturday sun, I met someone. An Adrienette high school alternate universe fanfiction, Ch.2. He's surprisingly nice, Myrna admits, taking a bite of her sandwich. Kinda strange, though. He's quiet, but also not. I don't even know how to explain him, she sighs. Nino chuckles and nods in agreement. Yeah, that's Adrian for you. Mans doesn't make much sense. He just does his own thing most of the time. Marinette hums thoughtfully. They had finished the project for nearly a week now, but since then she hasn't really talked to Adrian, despite the lack of interactions. He didn't leave her mind. There was something about his quiet niceness, his uninvading suggestions. Despite all of the people that Marinette has known throughout her life, she has never met anyone quite like him. It makes her ponder. How on earth has she only now realized that they schooled together? Especially for so many years now. Yo, dude, can I have your cookie? Nino asks, and Marinette pushes it towards him, lost in thought. He munches on it, getting crumbs all over the table, and Marinette just rolls her eyes at her friend. Nino, for one, doesn't even care about the mess. She sighs and turns away, staring off into space. She has a pretty long day ahead of her, and it's just barely over. Marinette, please bring this out to table 4 outside, her mother says in the most terribly mask-dressed expression on her face. Marinette nods and rushes out the back door to get the tray outside before the syrup makes the crispy pastries go soggy. Gosh, it's so upsetting when that happens. Marinette sets down the tray between the black-haired woman and her brunette friend. They barely notice as Marinette's setting down their coffee bowls in front of them, and because they are both too engrossed in some conversation. Marinette says a very awkward, "Please enjoy," before rushing back inside to her computer. She lets out a sigh when she collapses into her chair. Rushing into her homework while on shift is one of the most panic-inducing things she's done in a while. The black-haired girl buries her face in her hands for a couple of seconds to breathe, and then gets back to work on figuring out these gosh darn algebra problems. Since she's gotten so busy with school, her parents have hired out part-time workers to help out in the bakery as it's gained more traction. Marinette definitely misses working with her father to make macaroons and bread and working the register with her mother, but she does appreciate not having to worry about working a 4-hour-long shift the night before a math exam. Every once in a while, she has the time to come down and help out when she has the time, she'll come down to help things go just a little bit faster. It's also fun to see the regulars again, and usually more people will come in just to see her, since it's rare that she has those days or nights off now. And they have been even more rare now that she's picking up more student council duties. However, no one was available tonight to work, and the last person to be called in just rang in sick, so Marinette has to step in and help. She's happy to, of course, but her genuine love of helping doesn't make the job any less stressful. Table 2, outside? Once again, Marinette tears out the headphones that she's been using to re-listen to the lecture and takes a tray outside. She smiles kindly as she sets the croissant in front of the elderly man, and he all but stares at her as if it is wrong for her to be serving him. Please don't be afraid to press the call button if you need anything, she says, secretly hoping that they won't do so. It is perhaps unkind of her to think such a thing, but it is what it is. She is busy tonight. Marinette heads back inside when she merely runs into a person's side. She curses herself for being so careless, and careless enough to run into a customer. Although most customers are gracious and understanding, on the rare occasion, she will come across one whose main goal is just to find something to throw a fit about. Marinette mentally prepares herself for a lashing, just in case the customer was one of the latter. Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have been looking where I was going. Marinette sputters with a sheepish smile. But when she looks up to see who she's actually ran into, her mouth goes dry and her eyes widen like a bug. It's Adrian. Just her luck. He gives her a kind smile and laughs a bit, but not with malice. Don't worry about it. I shouldn't have been standing in front of a door anyways, he admits with a laugh. Oh, Marinette says like an idiot. Adrienne looks a bit amused by her speechlessness, and it causes a blush to color her cheeks. She's nervous. Why is she nervous? Do you need to order? I can take it for you, Marinette babbles out. Thanks. That would be great, but I've never been here before, so I don't really know what to get, Adrienne says, rubbing the back of his neck with an awkward smile. Well, I can be your guide, Marinette says with a laugh. I'm a bit of an expert on this place, she jokes, nudging him in the side. The blonde boy stares at her with a quietly surprised expression, and it just takes her all of 4 seconds to realize what an absolutely dumb move she just made. Like, wow, good job, Marinette. I have no idea what I just did or why, and I am deeply sorry, she deadpans, wanting to just melt into the ground. Adrienne shakes his head and laughs sprightly. Don't feel bad. It's pretty funny, he says. And I need an expert, so lead the way. His smile is kind and bright, and it helps bring a smile onto her expression too. Marinette decides in this moment that Adrienne would genuinely make a pretty good friend. She's proven right when she's running down the halls of the school carrying 3 boxes of props for the play that are barely holding themselves together. Marinette internally screams when the top box nearly goes tumbling to the ground, which would mean the props splatter everywhere and just... Ugh! It's like a tower of Jenga, and she's just trying to get through to the next round of the game. The black-haired girl closes her eyes for just a second, trying to calm herself down when she feels weights leave her arms. Her eyes pop open because which box just finally escaped to the floor? Dear God, she's mentally preparing herself to just drop to the ground, curl into a ball, and sob for 20 minutes, even if anyone passes by. Like, seriously. Considering it. However, when she looks up, she's met with kind green eyes, and in the human's arm is the offending top box that was so close to crashing down. Just thought you'd like some help, Adrienne says, almost sheepishly. Marinette is speechless for a moment before she remembers how to use her mouth again. Oh, she says with a laugh. Thanks. I'm just, taking these down to the auditorium. Adrienne nods and starts heading down that way. What is in here anyways? Adrienne asks. His eyes peer through the cracks of the box, but it's not enough space to provide him with an answer. Just some play props and set pieces, Marinette explains. Adrienne opens his mouth in a silent O shape. Are you a stage manager? He asks. Marinette shakes her head and laughs. Oh God, no. That job takes even more time than being the student body president. Marinette shudders, thinking back to her college days when she made the mistake of being the stage manager. I'm just helping out and then getting out of there as soon as possible. See, doing the crew for the play had been one of the worst ideas she had ever had. For 3 months, she had no afternoons off and her fair share of irritating classmates. By Tech Week, she was seriously debating burning the set down because it had just been awful. Outside of the theater, she could manage those pesky actors that kept mucking up her mood, but in the wings? That was the end of their times. Marinette has always been calm under pressure, but she hadn't been very calm back then. Luckily, most people understood why, and most people had no negative feelings towards her because of that whole disaster. That sounds awful. Adrienne laughs. I just remember you managed to play back in like grade 8, and since you did well everything, I just thought it made sense. Marinette curses herself for forgetting that Adrienne actually knows a lot about her, despite it not being mutual. Yeah, I'm never doing that again. Theater is hard, she emphasizes. Adrienne looks at her with an amused expression but nods his head in agreement. You can say that again. It's now that Marinette wonders if Adrian had just been a part of the play back then, and this is just another instance of her missing an entire human for years. She doesn't want to think about that being true. It would honestly make her feel even worse, because as a stage manager, it is quite literally your job to know everyone's name and roles. How come you're here so late at school? She asks. Had to retake a test. Oh, that makes sense. Yep, chemistry is no fun. You can say that again. They get into the theater, and after a gracious thank you from the actual stage manager, Marinette all but hightails it out of there, much to Adrian's clear amusement. Thanks for the help, Adrian. You really didn't have to, but I appreciate it a lot, Marinette says with a smile. No worries. Anytime. His grin is getting more and more familiar to her,